We are recording. Good. So everybody, welcome my students. Thank you all for being on here so much. So for those of you that aren't familiar with this, I know you heard me announcing this in class and sending you the emails, but this is going to be a little bit of presentation from PRSSA, which is the Public Relations Student Society of America from UC. And so Suzanne has really been hugely helpful in just like setting this up and gathering her students to teach you guys about what PR is. You probably like don't know a whole lot yet. And so that's kind of the point of this whole showcase, is to get you excited about something you probably didn't even know existed until now. And so it's one of those things that you see everywhere, but you just don't know fully about, usually until college. And so I'm going to just give it over to Suzanne and her team. But yeah, thank you all so much for being here. And this is going to be good. So appreciate you all.
Well, hey, everybody. I'll just introduce myself really fast and turn it over to the students. My name is Suzanne Boys, and I am the Public Relations Undergraduate Director, which means I just get to work with all the PR students and the fun things that they do. I teach a lot of classes. Mostly I teach seniors, so the students who are getting ready to graduate and go into the professional world. And the students who are here tonight are leaders in PRSSA, like Connor said, and I will turn it over to Ryan, who I think will probably kick us off. He is this year's president, so he can introduce himself and the team from there.
Hi, so I'm Ryan. I'm a fourth year communication student who's kind of thing is going into PR and stuff like that. So I am the president of this. Yeah, nice to meet all you guys, and I want to kick it off to the rest of the team to kind of introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alex. I'm the vice president of PRSSA. I'm actually a journalism major, not a PR major. I didn't get to UC in time, but that's totally okay. And then I actually have an internship at a PR firm downtown, which has gotten me some really awesome experience. So, yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Celine and I'm a third year communication major. I'm also focusing on a PR certificate, which is really nice. I've currently had some pretty good internship experience with a marketing company in my hometown. So I've been learning how to manage content calendars, work with companies behind the scenes and so forth. It's been pretty cool.
Hey everyone, my name is Morgan and I also serve on exec as a PR director. So I kind of help out with social media and things like that. But I'm studying communication, also minoring in marketing, and similar to Celine, have like a PR focus. But I've been interning mainly within like media and entertainment. So fun stuff that I'm doing now with some of the artists that you listen to. I get to work behind the scenes to help roll out some of their projects.
Okay, so that's us. So I'm gonna go to the next slide, and then Celine, take it away.
So we kind of already listed all of our titles. I forgot mine. Mine's event planner. So I basically schedule the events that happen within PRSSA. Most of those are national or like the district committee like events. We actually went to San Diego last year and we were supposed to do something in Tennessee this year, well, for like the past school year, but because of COVID, that was unfortunately canceled or moved online. So yeah, we have the president, the vice president, events planner, and faculty advisor. And then who are we as far as PRSSA? PRSSA stands for Public Relations Student Society of America. We are an organization for students interested in public relationships and communication. And we also advocate for the highest ethical principles and diversity in the profession.
Yeah. So one of our big things to add on to that is just like, so we basically meet, we have different speakers, stuff like that, and we learn about the major, have different opportunities and events to learn about the field and gain experience and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we do on campus. And then we have an icebreaker, which originally we're going to do teams and stuff like that, but with the amount of people we have, we can just do it all together. So basically we have a bunch of just simple riddles, and we're going to just quickly see if we can go through them and answer them. We're going to get 10 minutes, but if we go a little bit shorter than that, that's fine. So I'm going to, how about this? I'm going to put the next one. I'm going to put the next slide will have the riddles on it, and then the first one to say it, preferably say it, or you can put in the chat, what do you think the answer is? First person to get it right or close to it wins that point, and we'll move on. Just since we have this amount of people, this makes more sense. So I'm gonna start now. So the first riddle is, I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I? Actually, I need to pull up the slide on my phone because the next slide has the answers. So if I'm gonna do it this way, I need to have them up on my phone now.
Hey, one of you better get this because I'm not going to be helpful. Sadie, Nina, and Mahogany. This is all you guys. Said trees?
No.
I was gonna say the ocean, but like it doesn't make sense because it says with the wind.
Also, I'm not really a riddle person. I just looked them up to see them. So these, I think some of these will be super easy. Some of them will be very hard. So if you guys just have no idea, we can skip one. So don't feel like we had to spend, 25 minutes trying to figure out what the first answer is.
Why don't we give them like a 20-second clock, and then if not, go on to the next one? Can we do that?
Mahogany said wind chimes.
That is also not correct.
I think we need a clue or we need the answer, I think.
I'm just gonna go for the answer because I don't even know what I would say for a clue. The answer is an echo. Okay, so
I like that.
I think that last comment came in pretty good time. I think she might have got that one.
oh, she did. I didn't see it.
It came right at the last second. She said a voice. I think that's good.
No, I'll Mahogany. You get the Mahogany. You get the point. Okay. So next question is, what is always in front of you but cannot be seen?
Your feet.
Can't you see your feet?
Your
You're
shadow?
right. I wasn't thinking about it.
Shadow.
It's something you physically can't see.
Your nose.
That was a good one.
I was thinking the same thing, but
Your
It's not-
eyebrows.
It's not a
your
physical
forehead.
thing. It's not a body part. It's
Should
more
I
of a
give a hint?
concept. Sure.
Think about time and space, if that helps.
I looked at the answers yesterday, and I don't even know them anymore.
your future.
Correct. It's the future.
Cheated. Like you knew he cheated.
What? I did not cheat.
You just lied like that.
No.
Oh.
No, but he gets the point. But if we find out he was cheating, we will ban him from the riddle competition. So let's do a couple more of these. Okay, so next one. What has to be broken before you use it?
An egg?
Correct.
Nice. Wait, who said that? Is that Nina?
Yeah.
It's me.
Good
Although
job.
Sadie had a really good answer. Did you see her answer in the chat?
A glow stick is technically also correct, but we were looking for an egg. So that is, I'll give you a half point for that. Sadie gets a half point. So we're at a three-way tie at first with 1 point, and then we have a second place person with half a point. So anybody could win this. Okay, next one. I'm tall when I'm young, but I'm short when I'm old. What am I?
A candle.
Correct. Who said that?
Carlina. Me.
Carlina said it, but Patience also typed it into the chat. So
And a pencil.
But Patience is now saying that people
Yeah,
are
2
cheating.
points.
So do we have, are people just Googling it at this point? That's the question. Okay, so the next one is, I reach for the sky, but clutch to the ground. Sometimes I leap, but I'm always around. What am I?
is it not a flower?
It is not a flower.
Is it
A
a tree?
leaf? Like off a tree? Yeah, like a leaf.
It is not a leaf, but you were very close. You may have said the answer, but didn't guess it officially.
A tree. Is that what you said?
Correct. It is a tree. Let's do like one. We'll do this. Will be the last one. I also do not know what the score is anymore. If anybody's been keeping count, I see some people have been saying how many points people have. Okay, so how much will a 38-degree angle measure when looked at under a microscope that magnifies 10 times?
It's quick math here.
You can't do that. This Euler education ain't it.
It is 38 degrees. Correct. That is the correct answer. The magnifying does nothing.
I feel so slow.
Not slow. I didn't think of it.
So I think, if I'm correct, mahogany is the winner. I'm correct. So congratulations, you've won the icebreaker. You win pride and you have bragging rights. So you can mock others just for this, but if it's harsh, then you've gone too far. Yeah. So that is the icebreaker. So next up, we're gonna move on. Well, here's the answers. So we can go with the other one. The next one was coffin, for a person who makes has no need for it, who purchases, does not use it, stuff like that. I have cities but no houses. I have mountains, no trees. I have water but no fish. It's a map. My favorite one was 9, which is you see a boat filled with people. It is not sunk, but if you look again, you don't see a single person on the boat. Why? It's because they're all married. They're not single. They're married. Haha. And then I can travel at nearly 100 miles per hour, but I never leave the room. You can cover me up, but it doesn't slow me down. You will not know if I come only once or again and again and again. Answer is a sneeze. So yeah, fun times. So I'm gonna kick things over to Alex, who's gonna talk about what PR is.
Thank you for that, Ryan. I love a good riddle, so I don't know if anyone else enjoyed that as much as me, but. So I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about what PR is. According to Google, the professional maintenance of a favorable public image by a company or other organizations or a famous person is what PR is. Basically, what that means is that a person who works in PR works to make sure that whoever they represent, it could be an organization, a company, a nonprofit, or even a celebrity or a politician, they make sure that they are seen in the best possible light. And there's a lot of different ways they do this. And also, you may have heard someone say, like, Kim Kardashian's PR or their PR person must have a really hard job or that kind of thing. This is what they're talking about. What they do is they're trying to make sure that the Kardashians in this example are seen in the best possible way by the general public. Some of the responsibilities include creating media. This ranges from press releases to social media messages, speech writing, event planning, and a lot more. And the goal of all those tactics are to shape the public opinion of the company or the person or organization, and to increase public awareness of the brand. I wanted to next talk about media relations versus community relations. This is one of the biggest topics in PR right now. Media relations is what you will probably hear most from a person who works in the industry. This is basically the idea of reaching out, contacting members of the media, and creating relationships with media members, like reporters from a news station like WCPO, blog writers, social media influencers, and a lot more. And this method is called earned media. Community relations refers to a PR professional working to better the community through their organization. One great example of this is I interviewed a PR person for the Sacramento Kings NBA team back like 3 years ago, I think, at this point. And she worked with a lot of community-based programs that were both through the organization and through players and player-funded. And all those programs, like I said, were community-based work. And so she worked to get those programs off the ground and promoted them so that people knew what was going on, knew what they were doing and the great work that they were doing. And she also got a lot of media members in Sacramento to write about these programs and to create discourse about these programs. So that's a lot of the work she does, and that's more of the community relations side. So these are both two sides of the same coin, though. And if you ever work in PR, you'll find that you'll probably do work in both aspects. PR is a booming industry. Job demand has risen steadily over the past 5 years, and it was expected to keep growing. Unfortunately, with COVID-19, there has been a slight dip now, but what has not dipped is the need for crisis communication services, which I will get to in a couple slides. Some affiliated industries, you might have noticed that I said I wasn't a PR major earlier. This is where this kind of comes in. So some affiliated industries include communications, journalism, marketing, and digital media, all of which are majors at UC, as well as PR. But you'll find if you get into this profession and talk to people in this profession that a lot of them do not actually have degrees in public relations. There's a lot of flexibility in there, and a lot of people from different areas, different backgrounds can make it in public relations. It's a really cool and diverse field in that way. And then finally, I wanted to mention social media. If you're at all interested in working in social media, I would really suggest looking into PR, because social media is essential to every brand out there. Every brand has a social media channel. Every brand has a Twitter right now and an Instagram. And they're really important to their overall brand. And it's just a huge part of the job today. Anywhere you'll do anything from content calendars, creating graphics, creating posts, and that kind of thing. Just again, to create discourse, to get people talking. And no matter what the industry is, if you're in PR, you're going to work social media. Next, I wanted to show you guys a really short clip from a TV show called Scandal. The show follows a politically based PR professional. It follows a politically based PR professional named Olivia Pope, I believe. And this clip is super overdramatic. I will say that, but I think it does a good job at showing the detail that goes into the job, how much they care, and also a little bit of the ruthlessness that sometimes it comes along with this this profession. Again, this is very stereotypical and it's not this bad, but it just gives you sort of a sense of what being a PR professional is like, especially a political one.
We want clear, loose sight.
Oh, no way. My candidate's vertically challenged. She needs a box to stand on.
Risk losing that shorty vote?
She can't use a box if the podium is clear. That's all people would talk about.
I'd kill for some of that shorty vote.
The purpose of this whole endeavor is for the voters to get a good, clear look at all the candidates.
Oh, please. This is all about showing off Melly's legs.
Not at all.
Solid podium, 6-inch box. Moving on. Whatever candidate is ahead in the BNC poll release 24 hours ahead of the debate is declared the front runner and gets the podium at center stage.
Your poll?
Well, you have a problem with our polling?
Your samples are tiny, your questions are vague. Frankly, your polling sucks.
She's right. It isn't reliable enough to determine a front runner. The stakes of who's at the center podium are too high.
We stand by our poll. This point is not negotiable.
We want a red light indicating when time is up, a light and a buzzer.
Y'all think some little toy buzzer's gonna keep the truth from tumbling from these jaws? I say good luck and Godspeed.
No light, no buzzer.
Then no Melly.
Next issue, opening
Did you
statements.
hear me? I'm polling my candidate.
Oh, that's some sore losing right there.
It's no secret that Sally and Hollis are friends. If there's no buzzer, no blinking light, she'll let him run wild, fill all the airtime.
I'm sorry, no light, no buzzer.
Then this debate is biased before it begins. We're out.
Olivia,
Save it,
no.
Richard. She's just posturing.
I'm pulling Melly and auctioning off a
I think it buffered.
No, that's good. That's all I needed.
Okay.
That was perfect. So I just like that clip. I think it shows, I mean, like I said, very overdramatic, but it just shows the kind of detail that these people and like the seriousness of which they take their job. And especially in a political sense like that, which a lot of people want to get into who go into this field, it sort of shows a little bit of how it might be. Next, I wanted to talk to you guys about crisis communication. Crisis communication is probably the most interesting part of PR and the part that people think about when they think of PR, if they've ever heard of it. And what that is, it involves managing the risks that are connected to the activities and media relations of the company. So what these are just huge issues that happen to a company and to a brand or person. that has the potential to destroy their brand and destroy sales and destroy everything that they've created. Typically, if it's considered a crisis. So these are just, huge issues. And one thing you need to remember is that there is no one way to fix them. Solutions vary, but when you get into this field, you can study past examples that help direct you for the future. And I have a couple of examples here, and I'm going to go into a little bit deeper into examples on my next slide. But these are just a couple to get us started. We have the KFC when they ran out of chicken in 2017. I'm sure you guys saw this. It was a big deal on social media. And if you remember, they sort of poked fun at themselves, and they made themselves the butt of the joke, which really Twitter took it very well. And I think they handled it as well as they possibly could. And obviously, it turned into like a feel-good story, which is what you want, if at all possible. Now, it's really hard to do for a lot of these issues, but I think KFC did it really well in that situation. Then, of course, we have the BP oil spill, which has huge implications in the world, but also in the PR world. This is a situation that gets brought up at almost every conference I've been at, and in a lot of my classes. It's one that we just talk about a lot. And it was just one of the most devastating events in recent memory. So that was a really big crisis I wanted to bring up to you guys as well. Okay, then I want to walk you through a little bit more detail in these examples. So we have the Odwalla Foods E. coli breakout. So what happened was Odwalla Foods, there was a link between Odwalla Foods apple juice and E. coli. One child died, 60 were hospitalized, and 20 lawsuits were filed. Following, all of Odwalla's apple and carrot products were recalled that cost the company $6.5 million. In response, the company spent the next few months focusing on relations. They took out full-page news ads explaining the situation and taking full responsibility for it. And they even went as far as the CEO at the time, Stephen Williamson, promised to pay all medical costs. Now, the company did eventually get bought out just a few years later, but I think they handled that crisis the best possible way that they could. Like I said, they took full responsibility. They even paid for damages, which doesn't always happen. So that was a really, really good example. And then I have this other example here, which just happened a month ago. I'm sure you guys have heard of it as well. Burger King tweeted on International Women's Day, "Women belong in the kitchen." Now, of course, this was meant to promote their scholarship program, but no one saw the scholarship tweet, and it just was not handled very well. And this was a perfect example of a PR stunt attempt that did not go well at all. And this top quote tweet does a great job of just explaining how terrible this was. The engagement on your original tweet, which again is literally just a sexist trope, is 527% higher than the tweet announcing the scholarship program. So, like I said, that was a PR stunt attempt, which does happen a lot, and sometimes they work, but it's very risky, as you can see. And that one obviously did not work. And that one is very, very recent. So we don't really have definitive, did they fix it? Did they not kind of information yet? Or at least not that I've heard of. But yeah, those are just a couple examples, and keep all these examples in mind for our next activity.
So next up is we're going to talk about kind of what a case study is, and then we're actually going to do one. So a case study is kind of what Alex just did. He kind of reviewed different past situations, like the oil spill, the Women's Day terrible tweet from Burger King, and stuff like that. So basically, a case study is you take a past situation and you kind of study it, and then you try to figure out what you would personally do. Like, you put yourself in the shoes of the PR person in charge of that situation to try to almost use it as a practice round for PR. So you kind of get to learn about the situation and also learn about different options and different ways to address issues and stuff like that. So we have a case study contest, which I think since we have 5 of you guys, I think you guys could just work together as a little team and then do it together, and then you guys will then kind of present it to us. So the case is, in 2009, a group of Domino's employees made a viral video on which members were seen committing numerous health violations, like in the Domino's kitchen. So they were sticking like toppings up their noses. They were like sneezing and spitting on pizza and food. And then it was disgusting. And then they, at the end of the video, you can see them boxing up the food and then giving it to like the delivery guy to go ship it off and like send it to a family to eat the food. So yeah, so kind of, we want you guys to kind of step into the shoes of the PR people for Domino's. So you guys need to kind of think about how you want to handle, what do you personally do with like the media? Like, would you go reach out to national media and issue an apology, make a funny video, but that might not always be appropriate. You know, think about stuff like that. Think about what internal changes you might want to do for the company. Like, hey, we recommend to, you know, the rest of the company to have more health codes and stuff like that, if that's what you want to do. And think about if there's anything you might want to do to win back customers, because obviously one of the biggest things when you have something like that is you might not have a lot of people come to buy your food if they think there's a good chance there might be, you know, spit in it. So should we send them into a prayer room or just stay in here, and then they can just discuss them and we can help them out if they have any questions? I think that probably works better.
Ryan, we have a video too of the Domino's situation.
Oh, we do?
Oh, wait, you have the video?
Oh, do we? I don't think we do in there.
Oh, dang.
I can pull it up if they really want to see it.
I would just have everybody stay in the main room and brainstorm. Can we do that?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I would say also for this, kind of think about like what the company could do to win you back. That's how I always put myself in these case studies. Like, would firing a certain person or firing these people in the video, would that be enough for you to, you know, forgive Domino's and continue eating there? That kind of thing too is helpful.
In my situation, I think I would have them fired first of all, because that's rude. And I kind of think a free pizza or something like that, or like a combo or whatever. You know, just like a free something off the menu. You know, that always gets people riled up or whatever. And then you could be like, you could do an apology or whatever you said, like a public apology. And I guess get like, I don't know. That's all I got.
Okay, I'm just going to jump in there because the professor in me has to say that's amazing. So those are 3 perfect responses. You got to fire the person who did it. You have to apologize and then do some sort of restitution. So in one fell swoop, she gets 3 amazing answers. I'm sure there are more out there, but those were all 3 great.
Oh, we got 2 people posted in the chat, so I'm just going to read them out. So Sadie said, apologize to the customers and ensure them that the situation will be handled. So basically find the employees and kind of issue an apology. And then I forget the actual name of Liberal Democrat, but internally and publicly, I'd fire all employees who participated in the viral video. I'd also have a written public social media apology and video. Yeah, and I think those are both good. Yeah, because obviously you can't have those people working for you. It's just, it doesn't look good to keep them on staff, and also if they're spitting in food and recording videos of it, they're probably not great employees and probably don't care a whole lot, considering that they basically just threw away their jobs and could have gotten people sick. Yeah, and then you obviously have to do something like to apologize to everybody and really make sure that it's known that Domino's does not stand for what happened. And then Mahogany said, I'd apologize as well, but I don't know if I'd want to do it publicly because some people me see what I'm doing and look in it, what I'm doing it to look good on my behalf. I'd also do something more than apologize and fire the employees and make sure this doesn't happen again. Yeah, I would say that in situations like this where the video became very public and widespread, you should probably apologize publicly and make it known, because if you do it kind of internally and not address it, people might not know that you're addressing things. Because like you can make a bunch of changes internally, but if they don't think you made the changes, then in the eyes of the public, you didn't make any changes.
And I would say too, you might want to think about how you would word your apology. So it sounds really different to say, I'm sorry if you were offended, or I'm sorry that we hurt you, or I'm sorry that we're a bad company. Those are three really different I'm sorries. And the craft of a PR person is being authentic and connecting to people's emotions, taking honest responsibility, but not over apologizing because you have a team of lawyers who are going to say, don't make us lose all our money. So you have to kind of balance it. It people like the public, whoever eats at Domino's, they know if it's just spin, if it's just like, oh, we're sorry, and you don't change your behavior. So it really, the wording makes a big difference, I think.
I think it'd also be interesting to see how their advertising changed after this video came out. Like, did they start in their commercials where there are people washing their hands and washing the tomatoes before they cut them for the pizza and that kind of thing too? Probably be a pretty good idea to do that, but it also might be a little bit on the nose. So I don't know.
I like what Patience said. She said maybe I'd encourage that I'd be more aware of what my employees were doing to ensure unspit on food. Yeah, I think that's very much a big thing. Transparency, letting the customers know what's going on in your company, how they're preparing the pizza. That's a big thing as well. So I like that point.
How would you ensure that this doesn't happen in the future, though? That's the only thing. We have ideas.
And I'd love it if you guys spoke, because Drea, you had a really good point. I know you all have good points. So if you want to speak instead of typing into the chat, either way is great, but love to hear your voices too.
I guess you could, and like to prevent it from happening in the future, I guess you could talk to like the managers, because like when my sister worked in like a fast food place or whatever, they're more the general managers like really never there, kind of. So like the managers that are on hand, they need to teach them that they can't be doing that.
Yeah, I think that's good. Like, especially if you implement, stricter like oversight, and then have like a new program that you could even like implement and then announce when you're apologizing, saying that we're now having our new insert snazzy name of program for more of a better structure for your thing, for your like your shop, and then if people see it, they're like, oh, they changed how they're managing their employees. They're not going to be able to do stuff like this again. So I think that's a good point.
And I would be curious too, what it would take for all of us tonight to want to go back to Domino's. If I saw that, I would have to see some serious commercials about hygiene or something. I mean, I couldn't stomach going back. So I'm curious. And that's what a person thinks about. Like, well, what do I have to say or show or do before people will buy another pizza?
Especially in the time of COVID-19 too. Can you imagine if that video came out this year or last year? It would have been a global story.
Yeah. I was going to point out that there's because you guys are talking about in the chat about, having public thing about like teaching people not to spit in food and if that's needed or not. You could even address it in a way of saying that like those people don't represent, how Domino's really is, and that was an small incident, but you still have to apologize, and then you have to make it known that this isn't going to be a big thing and have more oversight then, so you're not basically saying, oh, this is a common thing, we're going to fix it across the board, but still basically say this isn't going to happen again, and this is how we're going to stop it from happening again. Because I do think, yeah, it's not, if you go to the local Domino's right now, the odds of you getting food with snot in it is probably very, very low. But obviously it did happen, and these people were fired. And so it is a possibility. So they have to make the public think that it's not going to be a possibility.
Yeah.
At least ensure them that it won't be.
I think this is just an interesting thing to add, but even just hearing the story, I actually didn't know that this had happened. But I, like, even now, just hearing about this, I'm like, shoot, I don't even know if I want Domino's now. So it's just really interesting how even like a past crisis like this, no matter how it was handled, just hearing about it can change your perception of a company, and how just detrimental it can be. I mean, yeah, it would take a lot for them to convince me. Yeah, it's just interesting now. Like, that's the effect that learning about this is having. So pretty cool.
Yeah, this happened 12 years ago, and it even looking at it now, like when I watched the video the other day, it made me have negative thoughts about Domino's, and those people haven't been working there for 12 years. So, you know, it's crazy. Does anybody have any thoughts about what you might want to see happen for you to want to come back? Like, what would it take for you guys personally to like agree to come back to Domino's if, you know, you saw this in the news, like, you know, last week, and this was like a current situation?
Well, I mean, if it was current, it'd probably get canceled by TikTok because apparently everything gets canceled. And for me, I feel like they would have to show the public that they have better management. And like I forgot what her name is, but your professor or whatever, she said something about like a lot of sanitary videos and stuff like that of them showing the public that they are having, like, they are clean there and do their job without spitting in other people's food.
I think that.
Oh, sorry. You go, Alex. You go.
I was just gonna say, I think another factor with this, go along with this, would be, I think the hiring process might need to be changed as well. The bar might be a little bit too low to work at Domino's. We might need to bump up that hiring process level, you know what I mean? And, you know, the quality of employee we're hiring at Domino's might need to change quite a bit. I think that'd be another factor in this as well.
Oh yeah, because I forgot about that aspect. Because when I watched the video, it was like the news story with it. One of the people involved with this had been fired from another company, like a restaurant, for like being rude on the phone and stuff like that, and just being like kind of an aggressive employee. And then they went to Domino's and they kind of let it happen. So I think that definitely would have to be an attribute. I completely forgot that was a aspect of this.
I like the comment, I'd only order in person and watch them make my food. You could think about that. Like, how do we change our process so that it's more visible? So if you think of like the Chipotle line where you go down and you see the food being made and you can see if somebody does something disgusting or not with your food, you might really have commercials that show that in an interesting way, and you see the pan of the restaurant or something where there is more transparency, because I think that would bring people back. Or whoever posted free pizza for life, I'm pretty sure most of us will go back for that.
Yeah, or like, you know, you get like a free item with a pizza, so you buy like any size pizza and you get free, you know, breadsticks or something like that. So you're still paying money, but you feel like you're getting stuff for free. So you bring customers in, but you're still and they make you feel like you're apologizing, but you're giving them cash. So like, you know,
that's what Chipotle did. I don't know if y'all remember, they had, was it E. coli or something a couple years ago, and they really took a dip. People didn't want to go get sick with their burrito, but then they gave like buy one, get one or something. So everybody's like, well, I don't want one to get sick, but I'll go ahead and have two, because it was a discount. So free food will get customers back very often.
Patience.
Even during the pandemic, if it happened right now, you wouldn't go. You'd still go back.
Yes.
Pizza's pizza, you know.
I'm just going to La Rosa's.
Ooh, that the roses is so nasty.
What?
Especially their Alfredo. For some reason, it's got worse over the years, and it's so watery. Ew.
Why are you getting Alfredo pizza? That's my question.
Who said anything about Alfredo pizza? I'm saying like their pizza's nasty and their Alfredo's disgusting.
Oh, well, there is Alfredo pizza, and I don't get why people buy it, but that's besides the point. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide, which is, I believe, a talking about solutions. So this is what happened. So first, their vice president, Tim McEntery, dealt with the issue by responding with an apology, as well as taking time to thank the public for helping to bring the incident to light. This is his statement. Thank you for bringing these to our attention. I would have the words to say, I don't have the words to say how repulsive I am by this, other than to say that these two individuals do not represent the 125,000 people in 60 countries who work hard every day to make good food and provide great customer service. So he did distance himself from the employees by saying that these people don't represent our staff, but did apologize and talk about how it was a bad situation. So he wasn't minimizing it, but still trying to distance himself from the two former employees. Yeah. So, and then Domino's Pizza U.S. President Patrick Doyle took to YouTube to post a 2-minute video to explain next steps and to reassure customers that this would not be a recurrent matter. Doyle said the store in Conover, Canada, North Carolina. I said Canada, North Carolina, where the videos were made, has been shut down and sanitized, and stated that Domino's would re-examine their hiring practices to ensure high quality staffing. The franchise owner of the Domino's Pizza store at which these videos were made filed a criminal complaint against the two employees who were later fired. So they basically went out, ensured that the places would be sanitized, work on sanitation, stuff like that, got rid of the two guys, and then had criminal complaints against two people who broke, I don't even know how many health code violations, probably like 15. So they had a public apology and addressed different things. So Domino's Pizza worked to regain trust in their brand throughout this crisis and use transparency, consistency, authentic. I can't talk sometimes. I'm sorry, especially in front of people. And visibility to ensure their reputation has not further damaged their relations. And so their big thing was trying to get ahead of it, making sure that food was going to be clean going forward, and making sure that they were going to cut out the bad group of employees in their company. So yeah, go team. And then we're going to our closing, which I'm going to hand things back over to Selene.
Thank you very much, Ryan. In review, we talked about the definition of PR, and we also talked about crisis communication, the impacts they both have in the media and what they kind of stand for. Alex did a really good job explaining examples of PR, different scenarios, especially in social media, especially with articles and topics. We also talked about our case study, what is a case study, and how do we look at things from different perspectives, especially in the PR world. And I guess the last thing to leave us with is if you guys have any questions for us, feel free to contact us. I did put our email down there, and we also have an Instagram handle. You can find us on LinkedIn, I think, and then Twitter. And yeah, we'd love to really help you guys out, give you guys more insight on what we're all about. And I hope you guys enjoyed our little presentation.
Yeah, since we have some extra time, I think if you guys have any questions now, we can also answer that too. I think we kind of had that going off the assumption that we would go over time, because I feel like we always go over time with our meetings. So if you guys have anything to say now, feel free to chime in or ask any questions.
Yeah, Sadie, Patience, Nina, or Drea, or anyone else that's on the call right now, do you guys just have any questions? You're welcome to unmute and just ask away if it's anything related to PR, or maybe like if this interests you, like Drea, especially, you had so many good points, like maybe how you could pursue it or something, anything like that.
Sorry, I have a question. Sorry. How would you like if I wanted to be like big in like a business, but I also wanted to not look like I was in business? How would I do that publicly? Like, like I wouldn't be able to post things that I would want to because of a business or something that I had. Because I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm not very businessy, but I want to eventually like have or work for, like, I want to have a big business. So, like, how would I do that? But I'm not going to look like I would have a business, like physically.
So you want to like look professional on like social media, but you don't want to like, or you want to at least appear professional, even though you might want to be like super like
not professional looking. Like, my body is not going to be, and like I don't know how to explain it. Like,
So like
I'm not
your
going to be very
appearance is
professional,
not
but
gonna
I
be
want a
professional.
professional life.
Okay. I can take that one. I think the biggest thing from what I've learned is most of these companies, um, they're just looking for you to be yourself, and not everyone needs to dress up and wear a suit. Like, I don't always wear a suit all the time. I only wear stuff if I need to look professional. I'll wear stuff within my style and things like that. But just like looking into my whole professional branding and things like that, especially with social media. So like if you're really interested in a topic, like Twitter is where I go, and like I retweet a lot of fun stuff, but like I do have boundaries like within I tweet. And I think a lot of people in this industry, obviously you can't like just be going on social media if you're like applying for a job and just saying like anything crazy, because employees look at that. But it's okay to like voice your opinion appropriately. You don't necessarily need to be like talking like all professional exactly on social media. There's a lot of professionals, at least like in my industry, that like they still have fun, but they incorporate their professional endeavors within that. But I just think I wouldn't worry about it, because I think in general, like the work life landscape is changing. Like some people I work for, they don't even dress up as much. It's kind of come as you are. Like, you can't just show up looking crazy, but like they don't expect you to be something that you're not. So I wouldn't stress over it. I would just say like be you. And like when you do, or if you want to have or own your own business and things like that, you just make it clear that that's who you are, and just not like conform to anything.
Yeah, I think big part of it's also what field you want to go into. Say you want to go into like, say you wanted to work for P&G, you're probably gonna have to appear a little bit more professional than if you were going into a more, you know, laid back media type company that makes more, entertainment content, stuff like that. They'd probably be more laid back with like how you appear and stuff like that. So really, I think a lot of it depends on like what you want to do, because sometimes you might need to make sure that you don't cross a line on social media, that you don't look like completely unprofessional, but you don't want to completely censor yourself that that you're not who you are.
And I think it helps to find a couple of people who have the job or the lifestyle that you want and see what they do. But look for people who are creative and express their personality and aren't living in a box. It sounds like you don't want to kind of be in the box of, super straight laced or, wearing a suit all the time. Find somebody who kind of is in that lane and see how they do what they do, how they present their persona online, because you do need to be both professional and creative. And that's a balance and something that it takes a while to learn how to do. So I think identify a couple people that you really admire and just track with them, see what they're doing on social.
Thank you so much for all you guys' responses. And I really I really appreciate all of them. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Well, I think Sadie had a really good question, which Celine responded to, but I think we should address it to the group as well. She just said, does that Domino's problem can that affect individual people? If someone says something ignorant, do you have someone who can help clear your name? And the answer is yes. It's PR people. I mentioned Kim Kardashian and all. They all have a crazy PR team, I'm sure. But one really good example, I don't know how much you guys are into sports, and it's okay if you're not. But one really great example of this, I think, is if you watch a post-game interview, there's a PR person next to every single one of those athletes analyzing what that question is, because those journalists are trying to create stories. Well, those PR people are trying to prevent those stories, because typically the stories they're trying to get may not be the best stories. They're kind of trying to sort of get them to incriminate themselves a little bit sometimes, not all the time, but it does happen. So PR people are there to prevent that at all costs, and they will jump in and interrupt journalists. They will stop them from answering. They'll tell, LeBron, you don't have to answer that. Don't answer that. You don't have to. So yes, there are definitely people there to protect individuals. This sort of depends on how important the individual is. A politician, a big time celebrity, an athlete, they all have PR people, and they're all doing just what the Domino's people did in that situation. So, and yeah, when someone says something stupid, that happens a lot. There's a lot of efforts to tamp that down. So definitely. Great question.
Do we have any other questions? No? Then I think that's it. Thank you for everybody for coming. If you guys have any other questions, you can just look us up on Instagram. I can put up the email again if anybody truly wants it. And there's messages we can talk, even if it's not about PR, if you want to learn about UC or different fields and stuff like that, like marketing, business, whatever. We know people, or we've met and interacted with people in different majors and stuff, obviously. So yeah, I hope you guys all have a great day.
Thank you guys so much for doing this. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll go ahead and hit the end on the recording button to make it look all pretty for the PR stuff of this. So I'm